Hey guys, it's Andy, aka LG, aka Eli. I'm back, ready to record another Magic the Gathering deck tech video. As you can see by the title, this is for Modern. This, like the last Modern deck tech video I made, this is another wild idea that came together out of sheer, just sheer madness. Because, the Modern format has become so inhospitable to anything other than the top 0.1% echelon of cards that you can't build fun stuff like this anymore, and it makes me sad. But this deck right here that I'm about to show you, along with the last one, maybe the last two, they're competitive decks. I just don't know if they are quite up to snuff with the inflated power level of the format with Modern Horizons sets. That being said, I made the deck because I enjoyed it. One of the very first deck tech videos I made, actually I think it was the very first one, it was like green Stompy. I didn't use that terminology because it wasn't specifically Stompy, it was just green stuff. Mono green cards I own, basically. And thought were good. The deck didn't do well. I think that video is still public, so you can find it if you want. I don't recommend it. The deck is bad. I didn't have sideboards. It was just bad. Probably bad quality. Speaking of which, it's scorching right now, so if you see me sweating, that's why. I apologize, but I gotta keep it real out here. Anyway, this deck is moving away from some of the more traps, I want to say, that I fell into from those earlier years of Mono Green Stompy, because that's what this is, if you can't tell by the title already. This is Mono Green Stompy for Modern in the year 2025. All memes aside, though, the game plan here is to just overwhelm whatever our opponent is doing with our massive green creatures. That's it. There's no... We're not cheating, we're not scamming, we're honest Mono Green Stompy here, and we're trying to overtune it to the point where it can compete with other degenerate shit. Probably not going to work, but this is what I came up with, and I actually really like the way this deck looks and plays, so I'm pretty excited to share it with you today. So let's just get started with our lands. Y'all ready for this? "23 basic forest, go." I think my first deck had different artworks of all the forests, which was just... now I'm trying to be somewhat competitive, so I just went with one of my favorite artworks of forest, which is this version that I don't even know where this is originally from. I don't recognize the symbol here. I think it's like one of those gimmicky theme decks, like elves versus goblins maybe or something. I don't know where that forest originally came from, but I love it. And you know, we got 23 of them here because this is where this deck is taking place. So no lands other than basic forests. We don't need any of that. Forests are beneficial after all. Anyway, to begin the deck, we have a single 1-mana creature, 3 copies of it. It's Noble Hierarch, lifted straight out of that other deck that I disassembled. But yeah, I wanted some early plays, and most of our plays begin on 2, but I wanted something that could come down early and just accelerate us. And Noble Hierarch seemed better than like Llanowar Elves, obviously. Seemed better than the new one from Lord of the Rings, Halfling, Delighted Halfling. That one has 1 more toughness, so it doesn't die to like Bowmasters or Wrenn and 6, but it doesn't provide you green mana unless you're casting a legendary spell, so Noble Hierarch is just better in that regard because it can provide you green mana, and it can also give Exalted to one of your attacking creatures, which is what we want to be doing anyway with an aggressive deck like this, so that's why Noble Hierarch's here. Only 3 copies though, because it's bad to draw late game, not the most necessary to draw early game, but I did want some, so 3 copies of it. Did I say that was the only 1-mana spell? I guess I lied. I have 2 copies here of Bushwhack, 1-mana sorcery from Brothers War. You can search your library for a basic land, put it into your hand, or you can have one of your creatures fight an opposing creature. Just a generically good card, not specific synergy with what we're doing. Just wanted some interaction. It's also nice to be able to search up lands if we're mana screwed, so good card, but again, not especially strong late game, so I don't want many copies of it. So 2 is good. source, trust me. Now we're getting into the actual deck. The reason we have this many basic forests is because we're playing not only 4 copies of Flourishing Bloomkin, a 2-mana 0/0 that gets +1/+1 for each forest we control. We are also playing 4 copies of probably my favorite magic card, Dungrove Elder, a 3-mana XX creature that gets power and toughness equal to the number of forests we control that also has hexproof. This is why. These 2 and 3 mana cards that come down and can just be huge. This is the backbone of the deck right here. You all know Dungrove Elder. It's been in all my mono green decks basically. Just a solid card. Probably my favorite magic card. I wish they would like print it into Pioneer or something, but I doubt this is ever getting reprinted. So if I want to play with Dungrove Elder here, I gotta play it in Modern. And in fact, I think Dungrove Elder and the Hierarch, I guess, are what's preventing me from playing this outside of Modern. So yeah, that's just what it is. Bloomkin, on the other hand, is 2 mana, no hexproof, so much worse in that regard. But it also you can disguise it, which means you pay 3 mana and it enters face down, like we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Out here. And then it's a 2/2 with Ward. I think Ward 2, it doesn't actually say on this card, which is disturbing because I can't remember the Ward from the disguise, because you almost never disguise this, because playing it for 2 mana as like a 5/5 is just much stronger than playing it 3 mana and then paying 5 more mana to flip it face up. Doing that, however, does get you to 2 additional forests out of your deck. So if you are flooding, you can do that, and you will do that. You'll be happy to do that, but it's 90% of the time it's just much better to play it for 2 mana. Another downside with the Bloomkin here is that it is susceptible to, I think both of these cards are actually susceptible to like Dress Down. I think that kills them both, but I'm not actually sure about that. I'll have to look into that. If you guys know the answer, I would definitely appreciate it, because I can't find it right now. But if you know offhand how that interaction works, please let me know. Anyway, to continue with the deck, we are playing some ramp options. The 3 mana slot, we have Topiary Stomper here, a 3 mana 4/4 Vigilance that enters and searches up a basic land, puts it into play. We only have forest, so you know what we're hitting with that. And can't attack or block until you have 7 lands, but we should be getting 7 lands quite quickly. So Stomper should turn into a real creature relatively soon, so that's very good. And also we have, in the 3 mana slot, we have Overlord of the Hauntwoods. It's actually a 5 mana 6/5 that when it enters or attacks, you create a token land that is named Everywhere and is every basic land type, so it can give you domain instantly. Doesn't matter in here because we're playing mono green, but it does that for you. For us, it just adds another forest to the battlefield. However, you can impend this, which means pay 3 mana and have this enter with 4 time counters. And as long as there's time counters on it, it isn't a creature, it's just an enchantment. And then after the time counters are removed at the end of your turn, it becomes a creature. So a strong play is turn 1 Noble Hierarch, turn 2 Topiary Stomper, or Impending an Overlord. You know, get started as fast as possible. And if we have another land, we can play like a 5 mana version of an Overlord, or whatever we want to do with 5 mana. So now, these are like our main pieces. In addition to that, however, I have a lot of, some are 1-ofs, a lot of them are 1-ofs, some are like 2-ofs, but a lot of these are just support pieces. Like, for example, I have 2 copies of Keen-Eyed Curator, a 2 mana 3/3 that does a good Scooz impression. You can pay 1 colorless mana to exile a card from a graveyard. It doesn't gain you life, and it doesn't give you counters right away if it's a creature, but if you exile 4 different card types with it, it gets a +4/+4 and has trample, so it can pretty much be a 2 mana 7/7. I guess you have to spend more mana to do that, but a nice early game meaningful graveyard interaction, so a good card there. I think there's more in the sideboard also, but I can't remember for sure. We also have 2 copies of Scrap Shooter. Both of these are raccoons from Boomburrow. Just funny interaction there. They're both good cards here. Scrap Shooter is 3 mana 4/4. You can gift a card to your opponent, which if you weren't playing in Bloomburrow, don't know what that is. It's when you cast the spell, you promise the opponent a gift. In this case, you're gifting them a card so they can draw a card. When you do that, when this enters, it will destroy an artifact or an enchantment they control. So, good way to interact with artifacts and enchantments, like Urza's Saga, for example, now that that got buffed with Blood Moon since Final Fantasy. But otherwise, 3 mana 4/4, not bad. It also has Reach, which is just whatever. But yeah, generically good card, but only 2 of, along with the Curator. I don't think there's more in the board. I think we have more efficient answers in the sideboard, but Scrap Shooter is good. Now we're getting to a lot of one-ofs. To begin with, I have Lumbering World Wagon, a vehicle from Aether Drift. Power is equal to the number of lands we control. Toughness is always 4, has a crew cost of 4, and when it enters or attacks, you can search your library for a basic land, put it into play. So a good card, another strong 3 mana play if we have a turn 1 mana dork there. On turn 2, we can get down the Lumbering World Wagon, get another land into play, and just keep going from there. In general, it's a strong card. Like, attacking with a huge artifact while ramping you is kind of exactly what the deck wants to be doing. But I didn't want multiple copies of this because I wanted mostly creatures. An artifact like this is good to have around, but I didn't want en masse, even though this is such a good option for the deck. So just one World Wagon. I also have 1 copy of Questing Beast, which the community has clowned on for having a large text box, and I gotta admit, it does look pretty large here. 3 great keywords though: Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste. So 4 mana 4/4 can attack right away, has Death Touch and Vigilance, so it can play offense and defense. Very good card in that regard. Also can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. It prevents combat damage from being prevented, which isn't as relevant anymore since the One Ring is banned, but still good to have on an effect like this. And also, when you damage a player with combat damage from this, you also deal that much damage to a planeswalker they control also. So overall, a good card. Just one of best boy there, Questing Beast. Also playing 1 copy of Vorinclex from March of the Machine, a 5 mana 6/6 with Trample and Reach, and when it enters, you can search your library for up to 2 force. They don't have to be basic, but we're only playing basics. Just thought I'd mention that. So it comes down immediately, gives you +2 in card economy, and then you can pay more mana and transform him. I almost never do this though, because I don't like the ability here where it transforms into the Grand Evolution, which is a saga. The first chapter, which mills you 10 cards, which I don't like milling myself. I don't know what it is, but like, unless I'm in a dedicated mill deck, I don't like just randomly milling myself like that. Like, I'm worried I'll mill out or whatever, but you mill 10 and you put up to 2 creatures onto the battlefield. Chapter 2, you distribute 7 +1/+1 counters, and then Chapter 3, you can pretty much shoot down your opponent's board by paying some mana, and then you flip it back over to Vorinclex, exiling it in the process so it enters again, so you get the you get to search for 2 more force again. But if we're doing all that, we're probably winning anyway, so the forests aren't going to matter, but it doesn't really come up that much. I don't know why I dedicated that much time to explaining Vorinclex, but here we are. Another one of here. You got Kogla the Titan Ape, a 6 mana 7/6. When it enters, it fights up to 1 creature we don't control. So just nice bit of spot removal here. Flame Tongue cover you. And then when it attacks, it automatically destroys target artifact or an enchantment that player controls. It has an activated ability where if you have a human, you can have Kogla gain indestructible, but I don't think there's any humans in this deck, so that ability never gets activated. But having the removal spell on a stick like that is good. It's something the deck wants, so that's Kogla. Here's a card that definitely sees play in Modern. I don't know if any other card here does, to be honest. Maybe Noble Hierarch still, but I doubt it. Anyway, the 1 copy of Primeval Titan. Pay off 4 ramping and a way to ramp you even further, just to power up your Dungravelders and your Bloomkins, World Wagons and stuff. So Primetime was the go-to there. Only 1 copy though. And finally, 1 Goldvein Hydra. Hydra with green and X enters with however much you pay for X. So you have X equal 3, you pay 4 mana for this, you get a 3/3. The 3/3 has Vigilance, Trample, and Haste though, so very good. And then when it dies, You create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to its power. So this is a very good card, but I often find it's bad early game. So I only have one copy of it, mostly just because, same with Questing Beast, I want main deck haste in mono green, which is kind of hard to find. So Gold Vein Hydra is very good in that regard. The other abilities aren't especially relevant, like when it dies you get treasure tokens, but if we're doing it right, if we have a huge Hydra anyway, we don't need that many treasure tokens. Not to mention things are exiled a lot and don't die, so you don't always get that anyway, but one copy of Golden Hydra is definitely good. Here I have a couple of Planeswalkers. First one being Vivian Reed, 5 mana, 5 loyalty Planeswalker. Can +1 to look at the top 4 cards of your library, and you can reveal a creature or land and put it into your hand. So nice card advantage option there. She has a -3. You can destroy a target artifact, enchantment, or a creature with flying. I mostly wanted that as interaction. And she has a -8. You get an emblem with creatures you control, get +2/+2, have vigilance, trample, and indestructible. So a game-winning ultimate, but we're not usually ultimating with Vivian. I thought about swapping this out for Archdruid's Charm, because it kind of does the same thing as Vivian. You get a one-time shot, you can destroy an artifact or an enchantment, or you can tutor up a creature that you want. So I feel like Vivian might be slow, but the fact that we are ramping so much, I feel like it offsets that. So Vivian is actually stronger than Archdruid's Charm, which I'm not playing. It might be in the board, but I don't think so. But I am interested to see how that could work here, but I just couldn't find room for it. Anyway, the other Planeswalker we're playing is my goat, Renin 7. A 5 mana, 5 loyalty Planeswalker with 4 abilities. The first one, you reveal the top 4 cards. You put all lands revealed this way into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. I don't especially like that in this deck, because again, we're not like a mill-focused deck. Like, I don't want to just be throwing my good cards into my graveyard. But that is Ren's only way to uptick, so begrudgingly I will have to do that sometimes. She has a 0 ability where you can put any lands from your hand into the battlefield, which is something that does come up. We'll get to that. Her most significant ability, however, is -3, where you create a Tree Folk token with reach and power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. So again, like Dungravelder, like Bloomkin, like Lumbering World Wagon, just makes a creature that has power and toughness equal to our lands. So good there. And a -8 ultimate that gives you an emblem with you have no maximum hand size, and you return all permanents, I think. Yeah, from your yard to your hand. Probably not happening. Mostly there to come down -3, get a huge token, and then you can 0 to put lands into play, make your stuff bigger, or +1 as a way to -3 again, all of which is strong. Ren is my goat from standard, but playing her in modern because she's my goat. Anyway, the final 4 cards in the deck really glue the deck together in a way that I can't really understate. And those 4 cards are Garruk's Uprising, a 3 mana enchantment that says, "Fuck Orcish Bowmasters, all my homies hate Orcish Bowmasters." I know, but it really, when it enters, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you draw a card. And a static ability, whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, you draw a card. So this is a card advantage engine, like through and through. It also has another static ability, gives all your creatures trample. So Questing Beast, Death Touch and Trample. Lumbering World Wagon, 10/4, now has trample. Your Overlords now have trample. Your Stomper now has trample. And most importantly, your Flourishing Bloomkins and your Dungrove Elders also have trample. Very strong synergy there. Like, I've been playing with this on Arena so much, and the interaction especially between Flourishing Bloomkin and Garruk's Uprising, it's like crazy, because you don't want to curve turn 2 Bloomkin into Uprising, because that doesn't get you maximum value. You want 4 lands in play when your Bloomkin is out, so it's a 4/4 when you play your first Uprising. That way you draw a card off the Bloomkin, and then you can play, like, if you still have 2 mana up, you can play another Bloomkin that'll be like another 4/4, and it'll enter, you draw another card off your Garruk's Uprising. And that is how the deck flows. This is the most important card here, Garruk's Uprising. We just can't be matched up versus good old Orcish Bowmasters, but If we can avoid that, we will draw cards and we will smash our opponents. And that is how this deck wins. As far as the sideboard, I don't particularly remember it. Okay, I see we have Skylasher, 2 copies of it, a good anti-control card. Okay, we do have another Curator. And we have a Shifting Ceratops again for control, 2 of them. Obstinate Baloth, okay, nice for discard, I guess. People played discard in Modern? I don't know. Nature's Claim is our, I alluded to, we didn't have Scrap Shooter in the board, but we do have Nature's Claim as Artifact and Enchantment Hate. Needles, I just always include these in my decks. And then 4 copies of Ran Through as interaction, because we just don't have a lot of like creature interaction. We got the Bushwhacks, we got Kogla that can fight something, but there's just not much as far as like hard creature removal. So I have 4 Ram Throughs in the board. I don't know if it's good enough. I don't know if this deck is good enough, to be honest, but I really love the way this looks. I've been cooking with this on Arena, and Younger Belder isn't on Arena, so I had to make it in paper, and I'm really pleased with what this deck is. I know it probably isn't competitive in Modern in the year 2025, but I had to do it, and I'm glad I did, because I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope you had a lot of fun watching it. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to let me know. If you're not subscribed to the channel and want to see more Magic content like this, be sure to subscribe. In the meantime, I'm going to get on out of here, so thank you for watching, and have a good day, guys.